all those issues. Sex also affects us emotionally. And folks, guess what? A condom cannot go over your heart. A condom can't protect your emotions. Can emotional pain hurt? Yeah. Some of us have felt emotional pain that's probably worse than any physical pain we've ever felt in our lives. People aren't out there committing suicide because of broken arms and stuff. It has to do with emotional pain. Emotional pain can hurt so deeply. So we want to take a look at that. I have this really good book called Sex It's Worth Waiting For. And I want to read a few little excerpts from letters of feedback from students about emotional issues. This first one is from a young lady. She says, she sounds very young. She says, I met this guy at a roller rink. We were too young to date, but I would see him once a week at the rink. After a month, he invited me to his house. His parents were gone, and he wanted to have sex. I really wanted to say no, but was afraid of losing him, so I said yes. A week later, we started to fight, and he broke up. I feel so crushed. I feel so empty. I want a guy that will love me, the person, not just my body. I want someone I can love and someone to respect me. Am I asking too much? Okay, is she asking too much? No, it's kind of typical to want to be loved and respected. She didn't get loved and respected, though. She kind of got used and hurt. Why did she say yes to this guy when she really wasn't ready? What do you think? Gosh, peer pressure, yeah. She was afraid of losing him. She was afraid of losing that little bit of attention and a little bit of affection that she was getting. Does that happen a lot around here? Yeah, definitely. Happens all the time. And it happens, from what I'm hearing from so many high schools, one of the most vulnerable years is 9th grade for girls. Typically, girls get hurt at a younger age. I think it's because girls are risking love maybe at a younger age. You don't get hurt in a relationship unless you risk love. In other words, if you really put your heart in it to love somebody, you don't get hurt. Some guy just wants to get some, and he doesn't get some. Well, he's not really hurt. He's a little disappointed, but he wasn't in it for love. But so typically, girls are in it for love at a younger age. And this happens all the time. Now, I know a lot of guys that are not playing that game. I know so many guys that really have very caring hearts. I've coached guys for years in lacrosse, around a lot of college students as well now, that are not playing those games, that have a lot of depth and want to find some girl they can really connect with and love and trust as well. But this is happening so much. And as an example, a girl that was in a youth group I worked with a few years ago, her name was Megan. She was 16 at the time, going out with this guy who was 18. And one night, she said they'd been going out for like 4 months, and one night he's like, Megan, you're so hot and beautiful, and I love you so much. It's time we show our love sexually. And she's like, you know, I want to wait until I'm married. No. And he said, I love you so much, and she said no, and he said bye. And she never heard from him again. So did he love her? No. He never loved her 1 minute of that time. Please hear that. He never loved her 1 minute of those 4 months. He invested 4 months into getting in her pants sexually, to have sex with her. And when he found out it wasn't happening, he said, bye, I'm moving on. That's not love. Guys, if a guy does love a girl and she says, I'm not ready for sex, if he truly loves her, is he going to leave her? No. No way. Universal response. No way. But because this does happen, I just want to make a few suggestions first to the girls here, because so many girls are getting hurt. Now, here's my first thought is, I don't think there's any gift you have to offer another human being that's really more valuable for you to offer than your very self. Right? That's a pretty big deal. Your heart, soul, mind, you know, all that wrapped up in that body of yours. Pretty big deal. And when you have sex with someone, basically you're sharing bodily fluids, two bodies kind of coming together. And for most people, we would say that would probably be the deepest level of human intimacy possible, or one of the deepest levels of human intimacy possible. So it's a very big deal, really, because you're putting your whole self, attaching them to another human being. And our culture is so crazy that we're basically saying what our expectations are these days is that, first of all, you should date at a young age or you're somewhat of a loser. And then when you date, that we think the normal thing is that you should be having sex with your dating partner. And I want to say that, to me, is absolutely insane, that you would share with another human being bodily fluids, maybe create a new life, but attach with another being, giving them the best present you have to give in your life, which happens to be yourself, entering into the deepest level of human intimacy. Why? Because you're dating them. Well, what does that mean? Oh, well, we've known each other for a little while, and he said I'm cute, and he likes me, and he text messaged me and took me to McDonald's a few times. So I guess I should be having sex with him now because we're dating. Well, how many dating partners might you have before you meet the real deal love of your life? Most people don't end up marrying the first person they ever date. How many people might you be sharing that intimacy with, bodily fluids, maybe creating a life? To me, it's crazy. And you might say, oh, I know him. You don't understand. No, I do understand. You don't know him. You know how I know that? Because he doesn't know himself. And if he doesn't know himself, you can't know him. And I've spoken hundreds of times to senior guys in 12th grade all over the place, and I always say this, and they never argue. I've met maybe one senior out of 50 that has answered the question, who am I and where am I going with my life? And until a man has answered those questions, he doesn't even know himself. And girls, you think you know him? You don't know him. And so you're potentially creating a new life, sharing bodily fluids, maybe getting a disease, sharing all that intimacy, that good stuff that you have to offer, that you are as a human being with somebody that might turn out to be somebody you would be outright afraid of, or that you couldn't stand if you knew who they really were. Makes no sense at all. So my thought is, to me it makes sense to kind of hold the bar high for your sexuality. In other words, you're the best present that will walk in the life of your future love. Consider that and keep the present wrapped up. Because before you meet the real deal love, again, you're going to meet a bunch that just want to get in and take. They just want to get some. And they'll find out your standards are up here. They're not going that high. They will move on. But the guy that's going to love you for who you are, he's not going to be turned away by your high standards. And in fact, it might have the effect of saying to him, hey, she is worth fighting for. I better get my butt in gear, get my life on track to win her because she's worth it. And I respect her, and I admire her, and I'm attracted to that mystery about her. See, young ladies, you are a mystery. And that mystery is beautiful, and that respect and that self-respect is beautiful. And for a guy that just wants sex, he's not going to like it. But for the guy that's going to love you for you, he's going to love it. And it will be a motivator for him to work hard, to be more, to win you. I saw that with a friend of mine who told me when he was in college, he was going from one girl to the next for a while, and he's ashamed of that. But he said, but then I met Gail, and she was different. And he said, you know, she wasn't going to have sex till she was married. And he's like, what's up with this college girl saying no? And then he said, I was so attracted to her mystery and to her self-respect and to her level of character that I did a turnaround in my whole life and raised my standards up so that I could pursue her. See, that's pretty cool. So I think it does pay to consider that, girls. It's countercultural. You might get some pressure about that. You might feel like you're missing out as you see some guy that you thought might be for you going off with some other girl where he can get sex easily because you're not. But don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Because a guy that can't control himself now, what makes you think he'd be able to control himself after he got married to you?